Good evening friends, this is Professor Vishal and today I am going to start with our second chapter of chemistry, that is Introduction to Analytical Chemistry. Okay, so basically in this chapter we are going to discuss in detail about the analytical chemistry, what exactly the analytical chemistry is, how it is important, and what are the various types of analytical chemistry, and likewise we are going to discuss in detail one by one. Okay, so let us start with introduction. So analytical chemistry facilitates investigation chemical composition of a substance. Means what? Analytical chemistry helps us to investigate, to find out chemical composition of a substance. What are the elements, what are the compounds are present in a particular substance, so that gives us the type of chemistry we known as analytical chemistry. Okay, so basically its scientific definition is, it is the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of separation, identification, qualitative and quantitative determination of composition of different substances. So in this analytical chemistry we are performing basically four operations. Firstly, we will going to separate the separate the particular ions or atoms or entities, then we identify them, and then we do qualitative as well as quantitative analysis. Okay, in that way we will find out the different composition of the substances in a particular compound. Okay, so it now in analytical chemistry we are using various instruments as well as methods for these operations, like to separate, to identify, and to quantify the matter or the substances which we are going to study. Okay, the analysis thus provides chemical or physical information about a sample. So what will happen when we perform the separation or identification or quantification? We will come to know the properties related to the physical properties as well as chemical properties of a substance. So in that way analytical chemistry is most important. Okay, now the at this analysis, when we discuss about the analysis, it may be qualitative or it may be quantitative. So these are the two important aspects of analysis. First one is qualitative and second one is quantitative. So when we discuss qualitative analysis, so it is all about the detection of presence or absence of the elements in a compounds. And when we discuss about quantitative, it deals with the determination of relative proportions of elements. Okay, we are going to discuss them in detail in our next session, we can say. Then after that, after the qualitative and quantitative analysis, so the scientific definition which I already told you. So in that way you have to understand how the qualitative analysis or the quantitative analysis or the process of separation or the process of identification is play an important role in study of this analytical chemistry. Okay, now after this we are going to discuss about the importance of this analytical chemistry. Okay, so as we all know, when we discuss about the importance, means what? In general it is nothing but the applications. Okay, so here the course of analytical chemistry extends the knowledge acquired by the students in studying all types of chemistry. Means what? Analytical chemistry, in our simple language, what we can say, analytical chemistry helps us or helps the students or scientists, we can say, to understand in detail about the concepts which are involved in, whether it is from general chemistry or inorganic chemistry or organic chemistry. Okay, so it covers all the three aspects of the chemistry, we can say. Irrespective of type, we need analytical chemistry in all streams of the chemistry, whether it is general chemistry, inorganic or organic. Okay, now when we discuss about the importance, means what? We have to focus on the applications where this analytical chemistry is useful. Okay, so there are certain applications or certain areas in which we are going to use the concepts of analytical chemistry, out of which first method or first area is what? Chemical analysis, or we can say which is also known as analysis of chemicals. Okay, this analysis of chemical, this technique is used for monitoring the composition of raw material intermediates and finished product. Means what, it deals with the study of raw material as well as the journey of the product at intermediate stage as well as the finished product. Okay, it apart from this, it is also useful for studying of composition of air in streets and premises of industrial plants. Okay, we also know that we are familiar with the concept that in industrial premises there are tremendous amount of air pollution is there. So analytical chemistry helps us to find out the composition of that air which gets polluted due to the manufacturing processes, different chemicals they are used. You can take any example like from sugar industry, for paper industry, or for oil and gas industry. So tremendous amount of air get polluted, and for which, in order to know the amount of pollutants are present in the air, so if you, what we can say it as a composition of air, we need the study of analytical chemistry. Okay, this comes under the category of chemical analysis. After this, in agricultural, again there are various applications. So basically in agriculture, it is used for it is used to determine the fertility and fertilizers of the particularly soil. Means what, how much amount of nitrogen is present, or phosphorus is present, or potassium is present. So in order to understand all these concepts, we must know the knowledge of analytical chemistry. Okay, so after this, analytical chemistry is also important in medical field to determine the uh, composition of medicinal preparations. So there are various so in medicine field there are various tablets are there, different composition of tablets or vaccines are there, so for which we must know the knowledge of analytical chemistry. So here it is also used in medical field, as well as apart from this, analytical chemistry has tremendous application in forensic science. So just for which is used for crime related investigations, or some detectives are might have used the forensic science, and for which the analytical chemistry is useful. So apart from this, for industries, many industries as well as engineering applications such as adhesive manufacturing, or recent trend is additive manufacturing, or manufacturing of sugars, or likewise various chemicals are used, and for which we must know the analytical chemistry. Hence we can say that it is most important field of the chemistry. Okay, now after this we are moving towards the concept of analysis. Okay, so basically analysis is carried out on a small sample of the material which is going to be tested. Okay, because what will happen, it is not possible that analysis is carried out on complete sample. Okay, so let us say 10 liter of milk is there, so we will take out 20 ml or 50 ml more or less, and we try to analyze it. I'm just giving one example. So in this way, analysis is always carried out on a small sample. Okay, so this is what we called it as a acceptance sampling also. Okay, when the small amount of solid or liquid is used, then let us say in grams, so that analysis is known as semi micro analysis. Means what, in generally what will happen, we are using very small amount of solid or liquid, whatever the chemical we are going to test, or whatever the substance we are going to analyze, we will take very few part of that particular solid or liquid, and we will test it, and that process is known as, or that particular analysis is known as semi micro analysis. Okay, now this semi micro analysis is classified into two major types. So first one is a qualitative analysis, and second one is a quantitative analysis. Okay, so this qualitative analysis contains different methods, such as basically qualitative analysis is nothing but this separation. Basically we are using separation methods, but there are again 3 to 4 methods of separation, so related to qualitative analysis. So qualitative analysis consists of separation such as precipitation, or extraction, or distillation. Okay, now let us start what exactly the precipitation is, what exactly the extraction is, and what exactly the distillation is. Okay, so here the only the three words are given: precipitation, extraction, and distillation. Okay, I'm going to discuss with you all about all these three processes in detail, so that it will be helpful for us to understand the concept of qualitative analysis. Okay, So first start with the precipitation. Okay, precipitation is nothing but the creation of a solid from a solution. When we discuss about the precipitation, it is all about creation of a solid from a solution. Okay, when the reactants, or let us say there are various reactions, when that reactions occur in a liquid solution, so I am discussing about this precipitation. Okay, so what will happen when the reaction is occurs in a liquid solution, solid is formed, and that solid we call it as a precipitate. Okay, let us say I am having three burettes. Okay, first one contains solution, second one the solution gets converted into solid form, it is actually intermediate stage, let us say, and we will get suspension type of solution in second burette, and in third burette what will happen, the solid gets accumulated at the bottom of that burette, and solution is remains as it is. Okay, obvious there is a decrease in level, but that solid which is gets accumulated at the bottom of burette, that is what we called as precipitate. Okay, and that process is known as precipitation, or as I already said, that creation of a solid from a solution is known as precipitation. Okay, so for which I will give you one simple example. When silver nitrate reacts with sodium chloride, we will get silver chloride and sodium nitrate. This silver chloride is white precipitate. Okay, so it is white in color, it gets converted into solid. So that is what this precipitation process is. Or one more example, when potassium iodide solution reacts with the lead nitrate solution, so we will get yellow precipitate of lead, what we can say yellow precipitate of lead iodide. So these are the two examples when they will which you have to put in answer when they will ask more about this precipitation. Okay, so also we can say that creation of a solid from a solution is a precipitation. Okay, so after this second process is extraction. Okay, so in this extraction process what will happen, basically it is separation process again, which consisting separation of a substance from a matrix. Okay, so again there are various types of extraction processes, so out of which one most popular process is liquid extraction, or it is commonly known as solvent extraction. So this method is used to separate the compounds based on their relative solubilities. Here the parameter of solubility is most important. Depending on the solubility, we are separating the compounds from that solution. Okay, so this is how the extraction works. And third important process related to qualitative analysis, that is known as distillation. Okay, so in distillation you might have heard about the word distilled water or distillation. Okay, so basically this technique of this is nothing but the technique of heating the liquid to create vapors, which is collected when separate from the original liquid. Okay, so it is based on different boiling point basically, or we can say volatility value of the component. Okay, so I will give you one simple example. Pure water can be separated from a salt water through the distillation process, isn't it? So how this process works, so what we are doing, we salt water is firstly boiled to create the steam. Okay, but salt remains in the solution. Okay, so whatever the steam generated, it gets collected and allowed to cool back into the salt free water. And what will happen then, salt remains in the original container and we will get pure water, and that is what is called as distilled water. Okay, so this is also again a separation process. So that is what in qualitative analysis we are doing the separation with the help of these three techniques. First one is a precipitation, second one is extraction, and third is a distillation. Okay, so I hope these three processes are you have familiar right now with these three processes. Okay, so after these three, identification is based on differences in colors as well as odors as well as melting point, boiling point, and reactivity. So again after separation, identification is there according to definition. Now how the substance gets identified, the substance gets identified or compound gets identified based on its color, odor, boiling point, melting point, reactivity, and all these things. Okay, so after this qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis again consists of two basic methods, out of which first one is a volumetric analysis and second one is a gravimetric analysis. Okay, so now we will discuss about first the volumetric analysis. So what exactly the volumetric analysis is? Okay, so what will happen in volumetric analysis, it is the type of analysis in which amount of substance is determined by measuring the volume that it occupies. In basically, as its name indicates, we have to measure the volume. Okay, in volumetric analysis. For example, analysis of nitrates, which can be converted into nitric oxide, which is a gas. Okay, or we can say production or consumption of carbon dioxide during biological processes, which is often measured by volumetrically. We are going to measure the volume, or we can say in our simple language, when analysis is carrying out measuring the volume of that particular element or compound, so that analysis we are going to call as volumetric analysis, again which comes under the category of quantitative analysis. Okay, after that, second part of analysis is gravimetric analysis. Okay, so let us start what exactly the gravimetric analysis. The analysis, this type of analysis describes set of methods which is used in analytical chemistry, particularly for the quantitative determination of analyte. Or what exactly the analyte is? Analyte may be the ion which is being analyzed, or the compound, or the atom, element, whatever the entity it is. Okay, so based on its mass, we have to consider mass here. Okay, for example, mass of an ion in a pure compound can be determined. So how can I determine that mass of an ion in a pure compound, which is determined, and what will happen, that particular mass is used to find out the mass percentage of same ion in a different compound. Okay, which may be impure compound, we can say. Okay, so in this way you can say that the gravimetric analysis is also one of the important aspect of quantitative analysis. Okay, so here what I covered, I think in this complete analysis we have seen two basic parameters. What exactly the analysis is? Analysis is always carried out on a small sample, and when the small amount of particular solid or liquid is taken for this analysis, we call it as a semi-micro analysis. And semi-micro analysis having two types. First one is qualitative, second one is quantitative. Qualitative is nothing but the separation technique, again which uses three basic techniques. First one is a precipitation, second one is a extraction, and third one is a distillation. Okay, and in quantitative analysis, two types of analysis are there. First one is volumetric and second one is a gravimetric. So this is all about the analysis of chemicals. Okay, so after this we are going to discuss about the chemical methods of qualitative analysis. Okay, firstly we will see qualitative analysis, in which first and most important method is chemical method. So we are going to in detail study of this chemical methods. Okay, so now this chemical method of qualitative analysis of a sample which we are taking is carried out with the help of two methods, or in two stages. Okay, so first method is what we called as a dry method. Okay, and second one is a wet method. So what we are doing in dry method, basically, so in dry method, so this is all about dry method. We are using the dry method in which sample under test is not gets dissolved. Okay, so the sample which we are taken for test or for analysis, we are not going to dissolve that sample. So that method is known as dry method. And in case of wet method, what we are doing, we are considering this sample which is under test. So we have to first dissolve it and then analyze it to determine its composition. Okay, so in wet method we are dissolving the sample, as well as we are going, after that we are going to analyze that sample to determine its composition. Okay, so basically out of these two methods, dry method is usually used, most of the times dry method is used as a preliminary test in quantitative analysis. So if you say first method which we are using primarily is known as dry method. Okay, So basically this semi micro qualitative analysis is carried out using various apparatus. So when we discuss about the analysis, we are taking small sample for the analysis purpose, for which what we need, we are going to use so many apparatus, okay, such as test tube or beakers or evaporating dish, crucible, spot plate, watch glass, fire gauge, water bath, burner, blowpipe, pair of tongs, centrifuge. So these are the various instruments you might have come across up to 10th standard in your chemical chemistry laboratory, but if not, definitely you will came across, we are going to see these instruments in your physically in your laboratory as soon as your college gets started, okay. So these are the apparatus which are most important. See what will happen, without such apparatus we are not perform the any type of analysis, whether it is qualitative or quantitative, okay. So type is different, but we need these instruments, we need these apparatus in order to perform any experiment in our chemistry lab. So these are the most important instruments, okay. So these all which is mentioned, which is completely mentioned in this para, okay. So after this, qualitative analysis of organic and inorganic compounds involve different type of tests, okay. So again, there are variety of tests which is going to be carried out in this particular qualitative analysis, okay. The majority of organic compounds are composed of relatively small number of elements. So when we discuss about the organic compounds, it consists of very small elements, small amount of elements, and which are commonly observed, such as carbon is there, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen, phosphorus or halogen is there. So these are the elements came across in while we are studying the organic analysis of organic compounds, okay. So these elementary qualitative analysis is basically, what is elementary qualitative analysis is, it is nothing but the detection of the presence of these elements. Means if I will take the compound and I have to understand, I have to analyze whether the particular element is present in the compound or not, okay. Likewise, for example, carbon is present or not, hydrogen is present or not, sulfur is present or not. So this is all about the elementary qualitative analysis, okay. The identification of organic compound. So in order to identify whether the organic compounds such as carbon, hydrogen, or as I already listed out earlierly, so if I want to identify them, so there are various tests which is to be carried out, okay, such as detection of functional group. So you might have familiar with the functional group in chemistry, aldehyde, ketone, alcohol, such as, okay. So these are the functional groups, as well as we have to determine melting point or boiling point of the particular element, okay. So in order to understand whether that element is present in a compound or not, okay. So these are the tests which is to be carried out in particularly in a elementary qualitative analysis. Then the qualitative analysis of simple inorganic compounds involves, as we in above para we have discussed about qualitative analysis of organic compounds. Organic compounds are present in a few quantity, such as sulfur, oxygen, carbon or phosphorus, or let us say what we have discussed earlier is a halogen or oxygen, nitrogen. So these are the organic compounds. Now we are going to discuss about the inorganic compounds, qualitative analysis of inorganic compounds. So the qualitative analysis of simple inorganic compound involves detection and confirmation of cationic and anionic species, basically which are basic and acidic radicals. We call it as a basic and acidic radicals also. So whether they are present or absent in a given organic compounds, we are going to discuss in a qualitative analysis of simple inorganic compounds. So this simple inorganic compound involves detection and confirmation of cationic and anionic species, or we call it as a basic and acidic radicals also. If they are present or not, we have to check in that method, okay. So after this we are going to discuss about the chemical method of quantitative analysis. So up to this what we have seen, this is all about the chemical method of qualitative analysis, okay. So it involves separation activities, basically It may be distillation, it may be extraction, or it may be precipitation. Okay, basically it involves in the qualitative analysis. See, both for qualitative and quantitative analysis we have to consider organic as well as inorganic compounds, and relevant to this we are going to perform different tests in order to analyze that particular compound, in order to understand the chemical composition of that compound. Okay, so after this we are going to start with the quantitative analysis, chemical method of quantitative analysis. Okay, so basically quantitative analysis of organic compounds. Firstly we are going to discuss about these organic compounds. Okay, so for organic compounds, quantitative analysis of such compounds involves again various methods, such as determination of percentage constituent element, or we call it as a percentage combination. Means what? For example, I am having H2 or simple water in it. Okay, so in that particular compound how much amount of hydrogen is present and how much amount of oxygen is present, so that is to be carried out in quantitative analysis of organic compounds. So that is what we called as determination of percentage constituent element. Okay, so second method is concentration of known compound in the given sample. This is all about the understanding or finding out the concentration, okay, in a particular compound. Now this is all about chemical method of quantitative analysis for organic compounds. Now what about inorganic compounds? So for simple inorganic compounds, again it involves the methods which is again based on decomposition reaction, or what we call it as gravimetric analysis, isn't it? And as well as on volumetric analysis. So in the in the quantitative analysis of simple inorganic compounds, we are basically using two methods. First one is decomposition reaction, which is also known as gravimetric analysis, and second one is the progress of reaction between two solutions till its completion, or in our simple language we called it as a volumetric analysis. Basically we are interested to know how much amount of volume is involved in that process. Okay, the quantitative analytical methods involve measurement of quantities. Basically in quantitative analysis, whether it is from organic compounds or inorganic compounds, we are interested to measure the quantity such as mass and volume by mean of some equipments. There are various equipments, there are various apparatus such as weighing machine or burette. We are using that equipments or machine or apparatus, and we are finding out the mass and volume, basically in quantitative analysis of organic as well as inorganic compounds. So in this way we are going to use the chemical method for qualitative and quantitative analysis. For qualitative analysis there are different methods, and for quantitative analysis there are again different methods. Okay, so this is all about basics or first method of analysis of the organic or inorganic compound with the help of qualitative and quantitative analysis. Okay, again you might have familiar with the analysis of qualitative and quantitative part, because which is the part of semi micro analysis. While doing analysis we are taking very small portion of that solid or that particular liquid, and we are going to analyze them with respect to two aspects. First one is a qualitative and second one is a quantitative. Okay, so after this we are going to start with the most important part of this chapter, that is known as mathematical operation and error analysis. Okay, see, we are discussing about qualitative or quantitative analysis, but this qualitative or quantitative analysis is carried out with the help of these techniques such as mathematical operation or error analysis. It involves again so many aspects related to both qualitative and quantitative analysis. We are going to discuss them in detail one by one. In firstly, for which we must know the mathematical importance of mathematical operations, as well as how to find out the errors, or we can say the error analysis also, technique of error analysis. So because the analytical chemist, we can say, who have the practical knowledge of this analytical chemistry, the analytical chemist has to know how to report the quantitative analytical data indicating the extent of accuracy of measurement, and he has to perform mathematical operations and properly express the quantitative error in the particular result. So in that way, this mathematical operation and error analysis is most important. So this is all about mathematical operation and error analysis. The accuracy of measurement is of great concern, because without accuracy there will be of no use. Okay, so we are going to discuss about this mathematical and error analysis in our next session. Okay, thank you.